Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming and welcome you guys here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Steve Raleigh, and I'm the newly elected president of the Southern Indiana Triathlon team. And we're glad that all of you guys could show up and hopefully hear some inspiring stories and some tips and some laughs from our great group of panelists up here. And the way that tonight's going to go is I'm going to try to MC and keep the conversation moving along for the first 20 minutes or so, get as much out of everybody, get as much information out there for all of you guys to hear. And then the second half, it's going to be open to you guys, whatever questions that you guys have. You can see everyone's bios in front of you. You can start looking that over. Everyone's got a pretty diverse background. We're going to hear them introduce themselves in a little bit. Everyone's got a little bit different story. To start out, what I'd like to do is just, out of the audience, who in the audience has completed a triathlon before? Show of hands. Okay? Who in the audience has yet to complete a triathlon? Okay? Anybody in the audience that's not up here have completed an Ironman? Mr. Jeff Williams. Anybody aspire one day, maybe, possibly, to complete an Ironman that's in the audience? Okay? For those of you that aren't familiar maybe with triathlon or Ironman in general, a little bit of background. Does anyone know the first year? How long has officially, not triathlon, but how long has Ironman been going on? Does anyone know about when it started?
About 30 years.
About 30 years. 1978, first Ironman took place. There were triathlons before there, but the first Ironman actually took place in 78 in Hawaii. It was a naval commander and a bunch of his running and swimming buddies getting together, trying to decide who was fitter, cyclists, runners, or swimmers. And they started out, and in 78, 15 people started, and 11 of the 15 finished that first race. And Ironman's been building ever since. As far as the three disciplines for Ironman, it's swim 2.4 miles, bike 112, and then run a full marathon, 26.2 miles. And the 26.2 makes sense because that's a standalone marathon. But as far as to get the other two distances, again, back in 1978 in Hawaii, they basically took the longest events in those disciplines that were going on in Hawaii, which was a 2.4 mile, it was called like the Big Waikiki swim. They took that. There was around one of the islands, there was a big bike race, and that was a 115-mile race. But to get it to work for their event so that they could start running and end swimming at the same point, they had to cut 3 miles off the course. And so that's where that first event came down. There's where the numbers come from. A couple other just basic things to go over with people is that you have 17 hours. 17 hours to complete an Ironman. At midnight, the lights go off, and it's really at 17:01. It's shut down, lights are off, and the day's over. There are cutoffs for everybody as they meet the different disciplines. The swim cutoff is 2 hours and 20 minutes. You have to complete your swim. You've got to be done with your bike at 5:30 p.m. and you got to start your run, and then you have until midnight to finish that marathon. So those are a few of the basics. A couple other things that specific to Ironman is it's a non-drafting race. So if you guys just watch the Olympics, you saw them in big packs. You watch the Tour de France, they're in big packs of cyclists. Ironman is, you're out there by yourself. You're a team of one. There's no support, no anything else. It's part of the challenge of completing it. And so what non-drafting means is you have 15 seconds to pass the rider in front of you. If not, you're supposed to keep about 3 bike lengths between you and the person in front of you. The other thing has to do with wetsuits, that there are rules with wetsuits as well. Louisville is one of the Ironmen that you can't wear a wetsuit for when you swim in the river. The water's too warm. And there's temperature boundaries at 76.1 is wetsuit to compete as far as to win awards, age group awards and stuff. And you can wear a wetsuit up to 84 degrees. Depending on the race organizer, they'll allow you sometimes to go from that 76 up to 84 to wear one, but you wouldn't be eligible for any age group awards. Okay, what I'd like to do, guys, is we're going to start down there at Matt, and I'd like you guys to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background in sports, what you guys do for a living, if you don't mind. Tell us your age, your occupation, family situation, schedule with work and everything else, and kind of what brought you to Ironman. Anything else you'd like to tell us? So we'll start with Matt and come all the way down here.
Hey, my name is Matt Wonke. I'm a senior designer at an engineering firm here in town. 47 years old. Completed my first Ironman in Louisville this last August. Background as far as fitness and endurance type of activities started about 5 years ago. Before that, I had not run more than 2 miles at one time. A woman introduced me to sports running, and I started off with 5Ks and slowly got up to a half marathon. My son inspired me actually to start riding a bike. He did a Canada to Tijuana bike ride with his grandfather. So that summer I bought a bike. Slowly, people from work, we developed a riding group, and we did the rain ride. We did ride across Terre Haute to Richmond, right across Indiana. I've done that 3 times. I completed 2 marathons before Ironman, maybe 3 sprint triathlons. Then a friend of mine decided to do Ironman Louisville 2011, and I would recommend, if you are thinking about doing it, go watch it first. It's something to see, and I decided right there I had to do it. Then the next year, right at Christmas, I signed up for Louisville. I only did one Olympic distance triathlon leading up to it. That was my only training race for being a kid. And it goes by very fast. Just enjoy it. Actual race day, every event seems like it's going really slow. But when you get to the end, you wonder where the time is. Very important to train with good people and have. I think the local race is a little bit better because you can have friends and relatives come and watch you, and that is a big boost.
All right, I'm Scott Culliver. I'm a manager and IT guy, so I'm a computer nerd by trade. I'm 51. I've done quite a few triathlons since I started in 2006. 4 marathons before the Ironman. I have been over to watch the Ironman a couple of times, but never stayed to the end. I watched the swim and the bike, and I got tired from the day, and so I decided to go home the other 2 times. So I had seen it, but it never inspired me to do it. My son and my mom both told me I wouldn't be able to complete an Ironman, so that's why I signed up, just to prove them wrong. My mom actually thought I was going to die, and after the race, my son and daughter also thought I was going to die. So, not that my fitness level was that bad, but apparently they just didn't think I was capable of doing it. So it was fun to prove them wrong. My background is I was a runner. I did cross country and track in high school. Was too skinny and couldn't play football, and do swimming, and any of those other fun things that a lot of people got to do. And then after I got out of college, I just didn't have any fitness. And I gained a whole bunch of weight. I probably lost about 65 to 70 pounds of that weight. And when I finally got into triathlons, through running and exercising. And like Matt, I think it's important that you have good training partners. There was about 15 to 20 people from Evansville that went this year. So it was great to have a lot of different folks to train with. And family support was huge for me. So if you can get family support, I chose Louisville, much like Matt mentioned, so that my family could join me to be a part of the experience. And it was a bucket list item for me. So we checked that one off the list.
I'm Patty Wink, and I'm 57. And year, I think my last son was going to college, and I kind of wanted to be looking ahead to not just be missing him too much or something. So I found myself the year before just doing all kinds of things, just finally trying to get back in shape, because I pretty much devoted myself really to their activities and helping my parents for a lot of years. So I really hadn't done anything, so I just kind of got the bug for that. And I guess probably one of the maybe craziest things I did first was at Hilly 100. And I heard about it the week before. Somebody in Zumba class mentioned it. It sounded fun. My son was going to be at IU for his visit, for the IU visit, so I didn't have him to worry about it. My other sons are in, Indy, and I'm going to do this. And I didn't have bike shorts, which was really dumb. That was probably my biggest mistake. In my mind, I think you're supposed to, but I had some shorts, and I thought, oh, that looks like that anyway. And I mean, it was like crazy, really. I know it's me. So, but I loved it. I just, just showed up. I did the 2 days. I did the whole 100. I was so slow. I had just an all-terrain bike from years ago. But I don't know, it's just kind of getting the bug. So, and I think I did the half marathon that year too, and that was fun. I don't know, I was just mainly swimming. Then I met a sister who married Reuters talk, and I just got so inspired. And I don't know what it was. I just think, well, anyway, I'm just so glad I signed up. And I didn't have the bike, so I was really frustrated. But I guess my probably point to bring out would be, and I think Jeff kind of mentioned that to me. It's just like. Well, before I say that, this year I'm going to try to just do master swim meets. I've done 2 now, which would have been great if I had done that before, because I was a swimmer in college, and I'm just loving that. I don't have the pressure of the bike, and I was worried about that or the run. But I love the triathlon. But then I told Jeff I tried to encourage him to come and do some of the masters meets. He goes, "What, did you just show up for that too?" And I thought that was kind of been my last year. And I thought, I didn't have experience in it. So, but I guess my point would be, I'm so glad I showed up. I questioned myself after I signed up, and I just don't know what I'm doing, but I'm so glad I went. I had the best time. I absolutely did smile the whole time. I think I had that in my bio, and I was like, I was so happy. I couldn't really believe that I actually got to finish it, which was icing on the cake. And I was very thankful for the Tri team for all the information I learned this past year. That I just kept soaking it in and listening to everything, and they were great. This whole team has been just absolutely wonderful. So, thank you.
Before I tell me, I want to tell a story on patio fast. This is perfectly typical of what you just heard. She and I were timing a youth swim meet together, and she was asking me about triathlons. And I said, yeah, we should go and do the indoor triathlon here in Evansville. We have one at the Wise coming in. We should really do that. It's no pressure. And she said, I don't know, I'm going to think about it. So I kind of didn't think much about it. She didn't do the indoor triathlon, for the record. I'm checking in Louisville for Louisville Ironman, pinnacle of triathlons. And in front of me in line is Patty. And I'm like, I'm not. And she turned and goes, hi.
I was so embarrassed when I saw him. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe
I was
I'm
like,
here.
am I spacing? I was convincing her to do indoor triathlon.